Fancy meeting you here. How to make an entrance. This way. Moving swiftly on. I need a drop. It's just gorgeous. Come. Oh dear. Hello Bubble lovers and welcome back to the Bubble Diaries. Thank you so much for clicking on this link today, sending you all love to whoever is watching. So today's video is a little bit different. This is a get to know me video. And I wanted to do this to show that I do more than just drink champagne. I mean, not much more, but I wanted to explain a little bit more about my life and the girl behind the bubbles as such. I did have the debate as to whether I can really say girl anymore. I mean, I'm 28 now. I feel like I've got 1 year left. Maybe by the time you're watching this, I've changed it to the lady behind the bubbles, or worse, the woman behind the bubbles. Okay, it's the girl behind the bubbles. So please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you like my channel. So anyway, let's get on with it, Lesley. So first things first, my name is Lesley Henderson. That's me. I'm Scottish and I live in Glasgow. I'm 28, as I mentioned, and the first thing I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is my family. I'm a really family-orientated girl and I'm really close with all my family. I'm going to just stick to discussing my immediate family because I don't think you want to watch for an hour and a half about my aunties and uncles and cousins. But if you're watching, hi everybody. But I'm going to stick to the immediate family. So I have my dad, my brother and my sister. If you've watched my video on the champagne stopper, you'll have noticed that I mentioned my mum unfortunately did pass away in 2017. I'm going to mention this briefly because it is a part of my life and it's something that I do want to sort of vocalize slightly more. It's just difficult to know, you know, how to sort of talk about it. But she had cancer and passed away in 2017, and I am really sad that she hasn't got to see me do this vlog because she loved Prosecco, she loved champagne, and we would have a glass together. And I think if you could describe her in one word, bubbly would be correct, and that was her personality. So I'd like to bring her into this a little bit, even though she isn't here as such. I wanted to mention it. So I was just about to move on to talk about the rest of my family, and then I completely forgot to pour myself a glass, which I think I was just, I don't know, nervous or excited to get started. So today's champagne is this one here, and there's a couple of reasons again I chose this one. One is I would say it is just my long-term favourite. So I'll just quickly pop this. And today I am going to use my tulip glass. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I like to scope out champagne deals and discounts, and this one was $35 from Tesco, and it did come with a box, which I just always feel adds that extra sort of luxury feel to it. Right, Teddy's in the room as well. Cheers everybody. Hope you've got a wee glass of something there. So I just want to briefly mention the rest of my family, so my dad, my brother and my sister. And I do think since we lost my mum, we have grown closer as a sort of unit together. And you met Lauren on the Compare the Champagne Glass video. So we had a lot of fun doing that. We are very close and it's nice because we are quite similar in some ways, but we're also different in others. So I'm now going to move on and just talk a little bit about my boyfriend, Jack. We have been dating for 10 years. If you know the reference that comes from, drop it in the comments. But if you don't, oh dear, I just look really silly. Anyway, it's true. We've been dating since I was 18. Jack was 19. We've had obviously a long relationship, and I think we've grown up a lot together, which is great. And we moved in together in August 2017, roughly. That's when we bought our flat here in the West End of Glasgow. So I'm going to do just a quick little room tour at this point, as I wanted to show you our living room, which is where I often enjoy a nice glass of champagne. So as you can see, we've gone for quite a dark, moody vibe. Starting over at the bay window, we have our Isla tweed curtains. They were one of the first pieces that kind of helped us theme this room. And then we have our display shelf, which is where I like to put little things on display, either whiskey bottles or just little nice things. And then we have our black fireplace here and our lovely Highland cow called Harvey. You will also see our saxophone, which everyone asks, who plays the sax? And I just say, that's the decoration. Even though it is a real saxophone and I used to have lessons, but I don't really think I can play. Okay, I'll try once I'm back from the room tour. And moving over around this side, we have our library corner, as I like to call it, where we do have a portrait of Teddy up on the wall. I will say I didn't actually go out and buy this. It was a gift from Jack's parents, which I absolutely do love. We used to have it in our hallway and I did feel it looked like we were totally obsessed with our dog, which we kind of are. So I'm gonna just grab Teddy for this part. So here is Teddy. He is definitely worth a mention and he has pretty much featured in all of my videos, not really by choice, just because he likes to always come in, yeah. So Teddy is almost 3, he'll be 3 in August and we've had him since he was, I think, 8 weeks old or so. We drove down to England to get him. He is a Cavapoo, although he is actually not, he is 75% poodle. And we actually got to meet his mum and dad and we met his auntie. I think we met his gran as well. So there he is. Say hi, little bear. So yeah, this is Teddy and I call him many different names. He is Teddy Bear, Honey Bear, Baby Bear, Button Bear. So I'm going to say goodbye to him now. Bye bye. Probably in the intro people thought, wow, she plays the sax, and no I don't, but now I do actually want to play just even one note just to show that I can get something out of her. Right, here we go. Oh dear. Do you not like it? Oh, I didn't even really get a good tune there. Okay, Teddy is literally crying at me playing that, so moving swiftly on. I'm sorry, Barry. I'm sorry. Okay. I need a drink. So moving on to my work life, I run my own business which is called the Rare Malt Whiskey Company. So basically what I do is I sell whiskey online and it is my own company which I set up around about 5 years ago. And you can tell by the name that the focus tends to be on rare, unique bottles of whiskey. So I actually brought a couple to show you. This is not a sales pitch or anything, it's just, I wanted to just give a wee bit more of an idea about what it is I do. So this bottle here that I have is a Macallan, and you can kind of tell by looking at it, it does look like an older bottle. So this was actually distilled in 1984 and it's 15 years old. So I'll show you the bottle itself, but this is just to give you an idea of what I sell. So Macallan is one of the most collectible whiskey distilleries. So you can see, I mean, it does have a lovely dark colour to it. And basically, because they are one of the more collectible ones, it means that any old Macallans really are highly prized, very collectible, and also quite rare. So this bottle is actually on my website for about £1,500. So that gives you an example of some of the bottles that I sell. However, during lockdown, I have actually made a kind of shift towards selling more drinker £40, £50 kind of bottles. So one example would be this one here, which is from the Dalmore, and let me just show you. This comes in a gorgeous bottle as well, but this one is £59, so quite a difference from that Macallan. But it's just to show you, just this is the type of thing that I do. So basically what I do is obviously run the business, I handle the packaging, I do sort of customer services, I do the social media, I source stock, I do the accounts with my dad really, and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So it's just me that runs the business myself. So before I set up my business, I was actually working at a whiskey distillery called Glengoyne Distillery. I would definitely say it was that job that put me on the whiskey path, and it was really my dad that encouraged me to start a business, because I remember saying to him, like, Dad, how on earth can I start a business? I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I don't have anything. And we just did it bit by bit, because for me, it actually became a little bit like a ladder of steps to go through. So like, first of all, the name, let's think of a name. Then it was like the rough, what are we going to do? We know it's to do with whiskey. Are we selling whiskey? And then the next thing was gaining a license. So I had to apply to get a license to be able to sell alcohol, which I do have. So that was it. And you know, it's now been 5 years. So that is my business. If you are interested in whiskey, have a look at the Rare Malt Whiskey Company on Instagram, or have a look at my website. I'll leave a link in the description section. So I'm now just going to move on to some of the questions that I had on Instagram, just a little bit more about me. So one of them was my favourite champagne, which I have already mentioned. This Veuve Yellow Label is just, for me, a classic, all-rounder, go-to champagne that it just never fails. Not that many others do, but I just love Veuve. Like, for me, the flavour of this one is quite intense in the sort of bready notes, and also I love the branding, I love the colour, I just think it looks so glamorous, and I feel like the Veuve colour is like a bit like the Hermes orange or the Tiffany blue, like it's just iconic. So I just love it. So cheers, I'm gonna have a little sip. Oh, it's just gorgeous. So there was another question which was about my favourite champagne bar in London. This is a really interesting question because there's lots of places that have been in London and had a glass of champagne, although I don't know if they're specifically like champagne bars, but one recommendation I would absolutely have if you're in London and you really want an amazing experience, I would definitely recommend trying to get to the Shard. So I've stayed in the Shard, and I've also been to their restaurant called Hutong, which is the Chinese restaurant, and the views are just unreal. So you could either go to Hutong, or there's a bar in the Shangri-La, which is the hotel in the Shard, called Gong. Absolutely stunning. Like, just, if I've got any pictures, I'll pop them here. Perfect for a celebration or something like that. Absolutely amazing. Another place that I would really recommend for a lovely glass of champagne is one of my favourite hotels, which is the Milestone Hotel, which is Kensington. They have a really traditional sort of boutique hotel vibe. It's very sort of old-fashioned styling, but I absolutely love that type of thing. And also what's really interesting is, if you've ever watched the BBC show The Apprentice, one of the prizes was to go to the Milestone, and they did the sobrage with, I think it was the hotel like drink specialist. They did it there, so that was fantastic. I will definitely include a picture of the Milestone up there if you are interested. One final place I would suggest is right next to Harrods, and it's called Harry's Dolce Vita, I think. I've probably just butchered that in my Scottish accent. But it's an absolutely stunning bar, gorgeous, and perfect if you've been in Harrods and then you just want a little drink after your shopping. I mean, I know in the last video I said everything is 1920s, but it does remind me of the 1920s sort of style, or maybe like, I know the Titanic was slightly before then, but like that sort of on the ship kind of vibe, like that kind of bar, that's what I could totally picture as. So Harry's Dolce Vita. Gorgeous. So another question I had was, why did I start this blog? And this is actually a really good question, because it was late last year, 2019, that I was sitting thinking, oh, I really wish with Rare Malt Whiskey I was able to post more floral, pink, girly pictures. And you know, this isn't me being sexist, but my general customer base does tend to be male with Rare Malt Whiskey. A lot of my customers are men buying whiskey for themselves, or men buying whiskies for their collection. Not trying to be sexist, that is just literally the way the business is. So I just feel like my marketing and my branding has to tie in with that. So I can't really post a picture of me getting a manicure. Whereas I wanted to create a blog that could encompass all the sort of things that I enjoy. So not just champagne, but also a little bit of fashion, a little bit of beauty, like, you know, getting your nails done, or flowers, things like that. Like, that's something that I really just wanted to have on a page. So I was sitting at my desk thinking, oh, I wish I could post a picture of, you know, something pretty with flowers. And then I was like, oh, why don't you? And then I actually took about 2 months deciding what to do. And I went away over Christmas and New Year. And it was when I came back in January, I just thought, bloody hell, let's do it. So that was the birth of the Bubble Diaries. And I think it's gone in a little bit of a different direction than I maybe first had thought because of the lockdown. So I had a lot of travel plans this year which haven't happened. So I probably have focused it quite heavily on the champagne from the get-go. And that's not to say I don't want this to be a champagne blog. It is a champagne blog. However, I would like to include some other interests of mine if, you know, if that's going to be something that is interesting to watch, but maybe it's not. I also just wanted to mention at this point, if there's anyone watching that has an idea and they're thinking of starting something and they're just letting fear stop them, really just reevaluate that, because I feel like I was so scared when I first started this. I was shaking posting the first Instagram, and I was honestly having like a meltdown posting the first video. Like my hands were just like jelly. I just got so nervous, and I feel like I've gotten a wee bit more confident with doing it, but like all I can say is that I'm absolutely loving doing this blog, even if it's, you know, tiny. I'm enjoying doing it, so why would I not continue? And I think the other thing I do want to mention is my own personal struggle with anxiety, because I think Instagram gives off this, you know, amazing idea of what my life is like, or anybody's life is like, you know, drinking champagne, or you're on a beach, or you're shopping, or etc. But we all know there's so much more to life than behind these little Instagram squares. And one thing for me is quite a strong struggle with anxiety, and this is something I also would like to discuss in a further video, just to kind of comment on it from my perspective, because I do still feel in society there is stigma against talking about mental health and discussing, say, having a therapist, or even sort of checking in, how are you doing today, like that type of thing. And if you do follow me on Instagram, you'll maybe have noticed that I do like to share some little positive posts, just little things that they have helped me at some point in time, and maybe even if there's one follower that has thought, you know, that has helped me, then I would love that. So that's just something I did want to also mention in this video. So I feel like this has been a little bit rambly, so I'm really sorry if it has come across that way. I don't know, it's kind of hard talking about yourself and not wanting to just, obviously it's me. But yeah, and I feel like there's not been a theme as such on this video except from me. If you have been enjoying the videos with the champagne, like, don't worry, I am still going to do more champagne videos. I've just taken it in a slightly different direction than I guess maybe I did at the very start. So as I'm still increasing in budget as we're going through the months, there's some bottles that I haven't really ever tasted, or if I have, it's only been a glass randomly. So I do still want to maybe do 1 or 2 more just strict tasting videos, but I also want to explore some different topics as well. If you do have any ideas or anything, please comment, and like I said at the beginning, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked it, and of course please follow me on Instagram. So I'm going to head off now as I'm going out for dinner tonight. This is my second dinner out since the easing of the lockdown, but thank you so much for watching this video. It means so much to me. I hope to see you again on the next Bubble Diaries. Cheers from me and Bubbly Love.